Well, when I started in the fire service, I started out particularly in EMS. And when I agreed to stay on as a permanent employee in Montgomery County, they told me I could just do EMS for as long as I wanted. Well, I found out later on they changed their mind, and I had to go and get all my fire certifications. And it probably was the best thing that could happen to me, because then as part of a fire-based EMS program, I had a much better appreciation for both aspects, for the emergency medical services aspects and also for the fire suppression aspects. And it helped me then throughout my career in blending the two together. And we've gone through a lot of changes in fire-based EMS. We started out, at least in Montgomery County, where we had a separate career ladder. People came in as an emergency medical technician and a paramedic, and they just worked their ranks up within that structure of emergency medical services. But after a period of time, we found out, at least for our fire department there, that wasn't the best structure, that we really needed to blend both. And we eventually began cross-training folks so that they were EMTs, firefighter EMTs, and then if they wanted to go on for advanced life support, they could go on and become a paramedic. And so as I went through my career and I took various promotional processes and was promoted, again, I tried to blend in both the EMS and the fire suppression and then all the other specialty areas in the fire service. At one point, I got very involved in hazardous materials. And since hazardous materials hurt people, I really focused on the EMS component of hazardous materials. And I was able to participate in the writing of the standard of EMS response to hazardous materials. So throughout my career, I've tried to blend both of the fire suppression aspects and all the specialties we do and really focus and make sure that they realize that there was an EMS component so that we just didn't have a separate EMS program, separate fire, but that the services really became integrated because EMS is across the board in everything that we do. And it was very fortunate for me. For a few years, I ran the fire training school, and that gave me a neat opportunity in all the fire programs to get in the EMS component and to try and raise people's awareness of the importance of looking at all the services we provide and looking at that patient care and the human aspect of it. And that was probably the best thing I could do because it really helped me be promoted to a chief officer and eventually to get a chief's position in the fire service. And it was interesting when the county executive from Prince William County came and offered me the position. He sat down and he talked to me and he said that one of the reasons that I kind of stood above some of the other candidates was that I had a strong emergency medical services background. And he said, it would be crazy of me, since 75% of our business is emergency medical services, not to look for a fire chief with that type of background. And the interesting thing nowadays, if you look around in the fire service, at how many fire chiefs have come from that EMS background, because so much of our business is emergency medical services. It's interesting that when I came into the fire service, I was one of the first women in the career service, probably in the country. People didn't think that that's why I was different. They thought I was different because I was emergency medical services. But then after a while, as I started going up the ranks, people did notice, oh yeah, besides being EMS, she is a woman. And I've been very fortunate in that I had leaders that I've worked for that have really promoted diversity. There have been situations when I have been confronted with some harassment, some discrimination. And my philosophy has always been that when I'm confronted with those issues, to handle them. But I don't go out and look for discrimination. I have learned over the years to realize that sometimes I don't get along with somebody, not because they don't like women, maybe because they don't like Mary Beth Micas. So I try not to look for discrimination, to think that people are harassing me when things don't go quite my way, but to really look for the underlying cause. And if the underlying cause is because they don't like women, then we try and deal with that issue. And I think that type of perspective has helped me over the years to last for 30 years in the fire service. I've also recently, I guess since I became a chief officer back in the 80s, tried to work with young women to help them develop into leadership roles in the fire service. And we see a lot more women coming in and assuming leadership roles. And hopefully through us being there and in leadership roles, we can help pave the way so some people will have easier times in the fire services as we go into the future. In running a fire department, I look at what I want in up-and-coming officers. And we try and emphasize in our fire service the importance of people having a vast experience. And probably one of the areas that we look at when we're promoting people is, have they had any experience along the way in EMS? So anyone coming into the majority of fire departments now, I advise them at some point in your career, go into EMS for a while. Get your EMT training, get experience as a paramedic, because if you ever want to be a leader in your fire department, or you need to appreciate the service and how it fits into the big picture. And you can only really get that true appreciation by being there, by going out on the street, by doing the work. So I would advise anybody who is aspiring for a leadership role to, as they plot out their careers, they work on those career development plans to make sure that they identify a point in their career where they'll get some of that experience, where they'll take advantage of programs that the National Fire Academy offers in emergency medical services, so that when they're in command of a station or command of a battalion or maybe in command of a fire department, they can truly make sure that they have the knowledge and the background to evaluate the whole service. And again, 75 and 80% of that service is going to be emergency medical services.